At the end of 2023, I delivered a keynote at European Investor Summit, and this was the first time I talked and presented multi-agent systems. Turns out in that audience was head of innovation of Tier 1 financial institution in US. Fast forward, I sold multi-agent system to that institution in US. I was involved with the project for around 2 years. I couldn't talk about it. I think you understand NDAs, and I can't even mention this institution, so you kind of have to trust me on this. However, a year ago, I was invited to deliver a keynote at TechChill, and for the first time shared publicly about multi-agent systems and how we are moving from working with our human hands to thought to action.
You literally clip the thing on your ear, like you would put, let's say, AirPod, and you hear AI, voice in your head. But not only that, AI hears your voice, or may I say, your thoughts.
And I want to share with you this keynote, how all of that aged like a fine wine. They learned so much from being involved in a multi-agent systems, now integrating it in GoBot, like the replica of OpenClaw that I built. Today, over probably 500 people right now are running the setup and multi-agent systems together with the GoBot inside my community and also building independently. So everything what I'm about to share, I want you to really pay close attention, because everything what I said is going to happen or is happening. It is now simpler, easier, and faster.
What about if I take a phone, click one button, and I want to do not just solve one problem like email, but I actually want to do multiple things, control multiple softwares? Well, I have an AI in like a chat form interface in Telegram, it could be in WhatsApp, in really anything. I can literally now send a message that block a time for my panel talk about how governments can use AI at 12:40, I think. Set a reminder to buy a gift for Mia, and also research how Lithuanian government uses AI and save it as a note. Boom, I can carry on with my day, or I can carry on talking with you, right?
Keep in mind, when I delivered this keynote, such thing as deep research did not exist.
She's gonna unlock the human potential with AI. Yeah, we're gonna have an amazing keynote speaker. She's a YouTuber, she's making lots of great AI content. Let's welcome Goda to the stage.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. This is heavy. Sorry, I needed help a little bit. So I'm Goda, and I had prepared the whole intro where I'm going to ask you to sit back, relax, and maybe close your eyes, but security stopped me by the entrance of TechChill, so maybe that's not a good idea. But I got you something that I hope that you're going to stick for the next 20 minutes. But in the meantime, I do want you, for the next 20 minutes, to really imagine that you are taking off on a plane. If possible, can you put your devices, those metal little boxes that we carry with us, and imagine. Imagine a world that, while you have all the things going on, what if it was handled for you? Simply. So you can actually be here connecting with me and hopefully trusting me to close your eyes eventually. Basically, I want you to imagine a world where you wake up and one of the biggest problems all of us face, every single one of you. You wake up and your inbox is at 0. All your emails are labeled, classified, moved into proper folders. You get summaries of what is actually important to you and needs your attention, but also summaries of newsletters so you're ready for your day. Now, imagine that you are heading out of a home, you are getting your children out of home, getting into a car. How amazing it would be if you would just pull your phone, talk, and AI assistant handles all the little mundane things that we all do. Block time on a calendar, set a reminder, research this or that and save it as a note, send an invitation, make sure to remind me to connect with somebody that I met. Talking about research. and researching stuff online. How many of you have researched information, analyzed that information, and then synthesized into some sort of like analysis or insight? Guys, if you haven't done competitive analysis at least once in your business, that should be more worried compared to you not using AI. Okay, so all these great things doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. Because what I can tell you from talking with thousands of people and creating content online, that majority of people are overwhelmed, confused, stressed even, because you see, I have a private community, and what I did is basically survey people what is their main obstacle for not adopting AI. And mind you, it's 2 years since we got ChatGPT, right? The not knowing how or lack of technical knowledge is there. It's in up top 3. But #1 reason is feeling overwhelmed. Not only overwhelmed with the thousands of options and you should do this and that, but overwhelmed because not really understanding like what's the real hype about AI. So for you to understand, and for people outside this audience, what is the actual big deal about AI, but not only how you could already use, and all of us use right now, but most importantly, why. I need your help, and that's why I'm here. Now, I want to tell you about pivotal day for me. And you're like, yeah, okay, Goda, your light bulb moment. But this day involved my 3-year-old, Card 79 company, and Karim, which I know is probably watching live stream. Karim is our software developer, machine learning engineer. And Karim told me that, hey, Goda, I recreated Perplexity AI, in 5 minutes. Now, if you know Perplexity, it's a $1 billion worth company, challenging kind of Google, because you can browse smarter, research information also faster. Well, if Karim was here today, he would say that he, together with multi-agent systems, can do it in 1 minute. Now, 1 minute, 30 minutes, even if it's a couple of days, who cares? The thing is that for the last 2 years, all of you heard about ChatGPT and that you should use it, right? Then we heard about thousands of AI startups. I myself analyzed over 500 AI writing tools. Most of them do exactly the same on the same model. Now the new buzzword on the street is agents, and now you have to keep up with that too. And now here today on a stage, I'm standing and telling you that, hey, multi-agent systems. You see, for the last 2 years, we've been working on this vision, on this project called multi-agent systems, and this is first time that I'm actually talking about it, and I wish I could have made YouTube videos about it, but I hope at the end of these presentations, you will understand beyond the vision of productivity. And if I have your permission, because I think some of you are wondering, like, okay, great, what is this multi-agent systems? I would like to read something to you, like literally 5 sentences, because my brilliant teammate, Jay, he sent this explanation to our potential client, who simply asked us, okay, Goda, explain me like I'm 5. Why this thing is so much better than ChatGPT or anything that we ever used. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to read you those 5 sentences, and so you have a context more going forward. While services like ChatGPT can be helpful for small daily tasks, current AI solutions cannot manage and solve large, multi-stage challenges. Simply put, asking a single AI agent to perform multi-stage, multidisciplinary task execution is like expecting a conductor of an orchestra to produce beautiful music by simultaneously playing every instrument themselves. To produce a symphony, you need musicians with expertise in every single instrument to coordinate their outputs according to the instructions of a conductor. This is the power of multi-agent systems versus single AI systems or single agent systems, like ChatGPT. So for the last 2 years, we've been working on this vision, seeing technology and AI as a collective intelligence, where while every single piece of a system gets better, the system gets better too. So to tell you about that pivotal day now that you have this context, it really started with a 3-year-old. I don't know how many of you have kids, or even if you don't have kids, there is a very fascinating thing you need to know about 3-year-olds. A, they talk a lot. They ask these deep, soul-searching questions like, what do you do? Or why do you do what you do? But they also talk to other people and they tell stuff to other people. So it was a regular day. I took my 3-year-old to kindergarten, and I overheard this conversation where a kindergarten teacher asked, like, hey, what does your mommy do? And my beautiful baby girl, Mia, simply said, my mom leaves me, and then she goes to the office. And I don't know if any of you are parents, that slightly broke my heart. But the thing is that it really got me thinking, what is it that I do? What is it that all of us do all day long? You see, I bet you if Mia saw me actually sitting in the office, she would say that, okay, she sits from, let's say, 9 to 5 if you have a job, or 9 to 9 if you're an entrepreneur, by this metal machine or box and making funny noises, clicking buttons. Because kids are really, really good at reasoning by first principles. If they remove all the fluff that we adults put to have a meaning, and they say it how it is. And that got me thinking forward. So what do I actually do on this metal machine? And really, there is 2 things. And to understand those 2 things, you need to know that I worked in big data analytics. And the moment you work with big data, you see everything as data. First, you create and transform data. All day long, you create images, videos, text, 3D files. And when you transform, you edit images, you edit text, you edit 3D files, and so on it goes. 2, when we move our data around, literally click, drag, and drop, but we also send emails, send messages, we post videos online or on YouTube. When you really break it down to this fundamental 2 things that we all do, who else is really, really good at these 2 things? It's AI and automation. AI, all what AI does all day long is creating synthetic data. And then taking the data, text to video, text to image, and transforming the data. If you combine that with automation, you have a superpower. And next time somebody asks you, what's the big hype about AI? Just answer. Hey, we have this fundamental technology right now that does everything better what we human with our flesh fingers do on this device, but not only better, but it gets better every single day. So that was the first thing. Now I get to the office, and the privilege that I have as YouTuber, I get like exclusive reports. And I received a report about pre-release of Elon Musk's upcoming model Grok 3, but at the end of the report, there was this image. And this image is from the company Card 79. How many of you heard of this company? Right. But have you heard about Neuralink? Please, guys, don't get me worried. You should have heard about Neuralink. Okay, so the same company that designed Neuralink device, Card79, designed this prototype where you literally clip the thing on your ear, like you would put, let's say, AirPod, and you hear AI, voice in your head. But not only that, AI hears your voice, or may I say, your thoughts. So I want you to think now. So we have something that we do, which is inefficient, slow, with fingers, and AI does it much better. And what's coming in the future is basically thought to action. What's in between? Many of you will dismiss, or people dismiss that, oh, okay, it's in the future, we will use our jobs where it makes no sense to do anything. Others dismiss that, oh, it's a hype and it will pass by, so let's not do anything. But I want to present to you, and if you run a business, 4 levels, what you can actually do today. So, first thing, the email inbox I told you about, I call it level 1. And in my community, people take quiz, we get to know what level we are, so we are not overwhelmed, so we tailor what we can actually manage. So my email inbox would look around 2,000 emails on a weekly basis, partially my fault, it's public. But you can use no-code simple automations which classify your emails, so at the end of the day, if people are trying to sell me, I don't even see it, because it goes in a specific folder. Now, use case 2, what about if I take a phone, click one button, scan my face, and I want to do not just solve one problem like email, but I actually want to do multiple things, control multiple softwares. Well, I have an AI in like a chat form interface, in Telegram, it could be in WhatsApp, in really anything. I can literally now send a message that, hey, I'm running over time, I think I won't make it just in time, but block a time for my panel talk about how governments can use AI at 12:40, I think. Set a reminder to buy a gift for Mia, and also research how Lithuanian government uses AI and save it as a note. Boom, I can carry on with my day, or I can carry on talking with you, right? So something behind that looks a little bit more complex, but I can tell you that in my community, the way we set it up, that from 20-year-old students all the way to people with so much experience who've seen email come around, setting it up in between 30 to 1 hour, both learning by doing and benefiting. Really, level 3, it is multimodal, multi-agent systems. When we think about productivity, it's really 2 components, and the previous speaker talked about it. One is time, how fast can you do something? Second one is volume, how much can you do that? And in the capitalist society, we measure that in dollars. Now, level 4. I want to share with you quickly how I got 5 months of full-time research, analytics, and writing job done in 2 hours. And this is where we turn the heat. This is where we take it to the next level, but we can still make it that it's accessible to majority of people, and anybody can adopt this technology. So in 2020, I was hired as project manager and strategic advisor for Startup Wise Guys, basically to analyze the whole Baltic startup scene. That project took 5 months, so long time, and really the output was 1 report. Now, startups and investors, you're going to do throughout your lifetime so many different analyses and reports, from monitoring competition, which you should do all day long, to mergers and acquisitions analysis, due diligence reports, investment performance reports, and so on it goes. Now, those reports can vary from as little as 5K to 200K. Now, I want to do an exercise. Imagine you have a task to analyze reports. So if you have an AI app, which I hope some of you do, right now or after presentation, you can ask AI to do this. Research and create report on investors attending 2025 TechChill. Now, keep it to yourself what you are going to get, but I want to show you what we get using multi-agent systems. And for that, I need help. So I need someone who is strong, brave, and loves reading. Anybody? Oh, you look like strong. Come. OK. So if you typically... Oh, by the way, hi. What's your name and what do you do?
Federico, I'm here just chilling. Yeah.
Chilling. So if you send and ask your AI to do something like that, that is a simple prompt. And therefore, most likely, you're not going to get what I got you. However, we don't need to have a fancy prompting because what we are moving is, what I said to you, thought to action. So the way we speak to each other and the way we think, that's how we should use AI. OK, so this is what I get if I send this exact prompt.
Oh.
So it is 2,045 pages, analysis and report. Wait, don't read it yet. On every single venture capital firm attending TechChill. It's 75 VCs. It's now, you should be asking, OK, Goda, but how about hallucinations, context window? And for that, if you're interested, I welcome you to send me an email, because the caveat here is, it's not just about extracting volumes of data, but it's taking that data and then running through multi-agent systems and extracting insights. So of course, no one reads this. And of course, we also got multi-agent systems. So this is the first multi-agent system. I'm not going to go into technical details. Again, if anybody wants technical details, how this is done, you can send, yeah, right, thank you. You can send an email to me, and maybe that's why I have a problem with email. But basically, multi-agent systems, the way if we want to design some powerful technology that anybody can easily prompt and get outputs like that, and also, instead of people losing jobs, we want people to take their domain expertise and be able to design systems like that, which is, if you know how to click and drag and drop, this is really for people look like a mind maps. So this is multi-agent system did this. So what about if we want to create marketplace? Like imagine App Store, but this comparison of App Store is not really fair, because what we are designing is multi-dimensional multi-agent system, which basically is a fancy way of saying that in App Store, your apps, individual apps, they don't connect. In multi-agent systems, it means that they do. So you can have another system that takes all the report and all the insights and basically draws a compatibility analysis. So for me, I now know which investors and VCs is actually, it's worth their time and my time to actually talk. Now we can have another one, which writes a blog article or analysis or social media. And so on. This is what we get, the network of a collective intelligence system called multi-agent systems. And I run out of time, but for you to know is that the way you work with that is literally you click export, you get a file, the thing that we all know how to do, and you can import, and you have all those systems in your software. Now, the world that I told you to imagine is not tomorrow. And we don't have to stress and worry about thought to action, and that's coming very, very soon. What the next speaker is going to talk is going to that direction. That world is today. And the last thing, what I didn't tell you, is that, of course, 3-year-old, after I tried to explain that mommy works with robots, building robots, and then teaches people how to use those robots, of course, she asked, why? And while at that point it mentally, intellectually challenged me, I can answer that now. You know how you like making puzzles? The thing is, we adults, we love playing puzzles too. We love solving problems. And the thing is that I go to the office all day long because I like to solve bigger problems. But you, Mia, I want that one day, instead of solving small problems, how to save a file, move a file, or type letters on a screen, that you would have the world where you can use collective intelligence and you could solve bigger problems. Thank you so much.